All right, what is up, 5-9 Gaming? Welcome back to the Dragon Ball Legends podcast, episode 30, Return to Monke. As always, I want to start this podcast by saying Twitch Prime is not a crime. So if you have your Prime ready or you just want to support us, make sure to hit that follow and that subscribe button. And follow us on our Linktree. So type !Linktree in the chat and follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and all the other jazz. With that said, today I am joined by Tom.
Yo, what's up?
We have Goresh.
What's up, guys?
You can see Nazdorachi.
I'm rocking the mohawk.
We have Professor
Bedhead.
here.
Hello.
Our boy Ryuden.
What's going on?
And we have Swift, who just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congrats, man.
Dude, thank you, man. Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on?
And today's topics are obviously going to be the new banner, the new units. We're going to briefly talk about Tournament of Power Preseason 2 starting. We want to check in on Ultra Goku now that he is 7-star or higher. We already have a confirmation that Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta is getting his Zenkai, and I feel we can discuss a little bit about the trajectory of the GT team and what this potentially could mean for other neglected tags that we have. But for now, we're going to start off with the new Step Up banner. Nas, how do you feel? Is that worth it, or did you skip?
I spent a grand total of like 500 Chrono Crystals on it, so I would say that's a verifiable no. My opinions on the banner itself are that the actual structure of the banner is not very good. There's only one new unit, not including EX Goku Black. His rarity is, of course, Legends Limited, so even though he is 0.25% boosted, it's still a rare pull, even though he's technically higher rates than any other single unit on the banner. And beyond that, Gresh, your webcam is messing up, by the way. Okay, there.
Yeah, it's OBS Ninja.
Okay.
Great program.
But anyway, so continuing, the unit itself, the Goku, if you are any type of budget player and you can't afford to get him to high stars, or alternatively, you already have like Gogeta Blue at high stars, you really don't need him at all. Unless you really specifically want to run a GT team and that's all you care about. He doesn't fill any sort of role that isn't already covered by another unit. He does good damage, I guess, if you have him at high stars, but he is a glass cannon. I would say wait. The banner's going to be up long enough that we'll have an idea of what's coming, you know, towards the end of next month, maybe leading into the beginning of anniversary. We'll get a couple teasers, maybe. So I think that you can strategically hold off on summoning, even if you really want this Goku, until we find out what's coming next. With that being said, if he's like your favorite character, don't let me convince you to not summon for him. I just personally didn't really see the value in not only this banner, but the character itself. So I skipped. Actually didn't skip, I spent all my crystals getting Super Saiyan 3 purple to Zenkai 7 instead of summoning on this banner.
Very good choice. Very wise decision, I would say.
Wonder why.
No bias intended on that one.
Yeah,
And
no,
I'm gonna agree. So it looks like this banner is mimicking the UI Goku banner minus the free multi towards the end, but in exchange they changed it so that the GSP, the 5 ticket for the GSP, the new LF is at 5%, whereas everyone else is much lower. I think for UI Goku, the rates for the other LFs and the other characters are very similar, so I'm not sure if this is a better trade-off or not. I'm not going to say it is because I don't know. The only thing that I do find irritating though is you can go through the entire banner and no matter what step you end off at, you will always have one extra GSP ticket that you cannot use. That frustrates me to no end.
Yes.
No matter what you do, you will always have one. Every rotation you finish, you either lack one or have one extra. You will never end on 0 GSP tickets, which is very annoying.
OCD.
Just keep going. Yeah, the
Yeah,
tickets
that's what
are
the problem-
objectively 1,000 million billion times worse. Because before, you just got a ticket, you could do a single summon. But now you have to get the 5. And like Raiden said, you either get 4 or you get 6 going through the rotations. So it's...
Yeah, it's pretty irritating, and as Nas said, very confusing as to why there's one new character, one new sparking, being an LF at that. And I think an EX Future unit is even more confusing, considering the whole spiel was, okay, we're gonna start focusing on GT. We saw the video and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, path to GT, and we have a login bonus that says, yeah, GT, woo. And then they're like, yeah, but don't forget Future. Here, Throw them in there too. Make the hardest to pull unit what's helping GT, and then throw some future. We can't let them forget future. Throw them in there too. And then we have this EX Goku Black, which makes no sense.
I think in terms of, I was just gonna say, I think in terms of the tickets, it really depends on what angle you're looking at it from, because I would say this format is way better if you're just trying to pull the LF, right? The rates for the LF are 5% on these tickets, whereas on the previous iteration of tickets where you get one ticket for a summon, it was like the same. It was 0.5% to pull the LF from the tickets, which is terrible. But on the other hand, the other version of the tickets gave you so many more sparkings, right? So it's that's the trade-off with this iteration of how they did the ticket banner.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I guess-
extra.
I guess it kind of depends on what kind of a player you are, because I mean for you, Goresh, you probably got billions of Z medals from that.
Yeah,
again,
I mean, for someone like me, I'd much rather prefer this ticket.
And
So-
I mean also, now complaining about this would be kind of hypocritical, at least because many people complained about, when they made that step on the Gogeta and Broly banner to these tickets, because no, we want the old system back where we had a 5% chance. And now they give us the 5% chance, and all of a sudden this is also kind of meh.
Well,
pick a side.
I personally, I mean, I kind of like the banner. If you're looking at it from the person that doesn't have all the Zenkais unlocked for the Sun Family LF team, I mean, this is a one-stop shop, isn't it? Or have we ever been given a better deal if you're trying to build that team?
I think it's just I think they should design the banners so they're valuable not only for new players but also for for veterans.
Well,
at the same time.
Gresh just said, I mean, if you're going to be... When I summon on a banner lately, it really does feel like the only thing I care about is pulling that LF. I've pulled Cell, Goku Black a billion times, so the 1% units really don't change my opinion too much. And seeing this, I maybe I'm crazy. I kind of like this setup better. It felt like if I was going to actually go for the Goku, I was going to have a better chance at getting him. Maybe someone on the calculators or can go, yo, you're an idiot. The other chance, you have more chances this way, and you get the unit better. But this looks like a better chance at pulling an LF, doesn't it?
It's just the tickets. Like the regular banner's the same essentially.
Yeah, but you're getting
they actually removed the free multi from the regular banner too. So
Yeah.
So we're mainly just missing the free multi, because I was just looking at the list of units and I felt like if you're trying to build Sun Family, this is a good team. Otherwise, I didn't really care for it. I just kind of wanted a copy of the Goku.
yeah, well, the thing with this banner is they actually kept the model of having no featured units, right? Because every single sparking has the same rate except for the LFs.
Right.
So it's like, if you want a specific unit on this banner, it's actually, you actually have a lower probability of pulling a specific sparking than the LFs, which is insane. So that in combination with the fact that they removed the free multi, I mean, I saw this and I instantly just recommended people not pull on this banner.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I was mainly just looking at the LF rates because they seem to be the standard LF rates we usually get, with a whopping 5% for the Goku. I wasn't concerned about the random sparkings they throw in on the bottom.
So how do you
Yeah,
guys?
I mean-
sorry, go ahead and ask you first.
Oh, I was just say theoretically you have that extra 4.5% on the tickets chance to pull him, but outside of that, I don't think there's too much of a increased chance of you actually getting him. I would say because they removed the free step but kept the EX guaranteed step, I saw way more people pulling the EX Goku Black than the actual Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Well, maybe that's just what I observed myself, but
So what I'm curious about is how you guys feel about them only releasing one new sparking, which is the Goku, and no side character like the number 1 Vegeta, for example.
I was
Boring.
surprised. I honestly thought that they were gonna be coming out with some other type of unit alongside Super Saiyan 4.
It's just a typical way they feel about GT, right? It's just indicative of that.
Yeah.
Well, they could have rehashed a Pan unit or when a Princess Trunks or something, right? But we could have had just any kind of remodel rehash unit, and then they just kind of hucked a bunch of LFs at us. So I don't know.
Even an EX GT unit would have been fine, but they're like, no, here's some more future for you, and they put Goku Black.
That's a different point that I wanted to bring up. Does it not feel like, because this whole time they're like, well, GT doesn't really sell that well. That's like the vibe that we get. So like it's undersupported because it doesn't sell well. But it seems like every time they try and push GT, they do it with intentional sabotage in mind. Like, why?
I wouldn't say it's sabotage. I think it's caution.
Caution, sabotage, naivety. I don't if you want GT to sell well, like put GT characters on the banners with the other ones that do sell well. But instead, they just throw one GT character out, LL, right before anniversary, and they're like, oh, it didn't sell very well, which then gives them the confirmation bias that GT doesn't. It reinforces that for them when it feels like it was kind of not set up to succeed in the first place. I don't know how you feel about that.
Is it possible that they're just saving the hype for Gogeta?
But it still sets this banner up to not perform well, which is ideally not what they want, though, right? They could have done it way better.
I feel like they set it up to fail. Okay, like I said, if you guys want to laugh at me, you can. I looked at the banner. I didn't think it was the worst thing in the world. And I'm sure a lot of other players had initial impressions that were very similar to my own. And it's just not the most optimal banner if you're sniping units, but if you're just trying to take a crank on the machine going for the new Goku, I felt like this was pretty decent.
Well, yeah, I just feel like most people aren't going to spin that roulette wheel just because they know anniversary's coming. But if they made the banner a little better, like, oh, maybe a new Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and a Goku, or a new baby in Goku, or a new Ice Shenron in Goku, or if they just did anything to make it a little bit more appealing, then I think GT could have the potential to get the sales numbers they want from it, but it's like not being ideally set up, I guess.
I said last week, and I know a lot of you were saying that you just need to make this Goku or the new Gogeta just a GT unit, kind of force them to be on GT to make the team viable. But I felt like when they start introducing the GT units, they were going to do exactly what they did. They made this Goku unit blend just seamlessly into Sun Family. Despite your opinion on the Goku itself, he's designed to go on Sun Family or GT very clearly. And if they take that approach, you'll end up producing a GT team, but you won't have to worry about GT carrying its own tag, right? If people are a fan of it, the selection's there, but realistically, the units are going to go on to other teams. And I feel like that's what they're attempting here.
I don't think that's what they want, though. But I'm not sure. I'm not really in their heads.
Yeah, well.
But back to the banner, I definitely wish they added another unit.
Yeah, at least 2 new units. There have been very few banners that came out in the game that only had 1 brand new unit. Hey, doggo.
Yeah, I was very surprised. But I do see what Prof's saying. Like, you know, if you're a fairly new player and you want to build a Sun Family team, then this might be the perfect banner for you to work up your Sun Family units, gain some stars on them. You know, maybe get Green Super Saiyan 3 to 7 stars and start the Zenkai. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably a little bit of value there, especially for newer players.
I'm curious if anybody's seen like any charts or breakdowns on your chance of actually, you know, per Chrono Crystal pulling Goku with the new system comparatively to the old one. Because I know someone usually breaks it down. Like, is this better or worse chances of actually pulling the LF?
I summoned quite a bit, but I didn't see any difference between this banner and the Goku Black for me.
But
the LF.
That might just be anecdotal, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
I got
though.
super lucky on both too. But Kid Buu and Future Gohan, for example, were terrible for me.
So I'm curious which one is a better deal per Chrono Crystal, because a lot of stuff looks bad on paper, and then you're like, well, wait a minute. You know, we're actually going to be getting more for this. Or inversely, it looks like they're giving you a bunch of sparkings, but you don't really have as great of a chance of pulling what you really care about. But, I don't know. This... like I said, this banner just looks like they're trying to sell the LF Sun Family. It might be as what people like to call a bait banner. There might be something bigger coming on the horizon. Who knows?
Yeah, that may very well be. I feel like we can move on to... We started talking a little bit about the unit as already. And yeah, I'm curious, Goresh, you have him now at 14 stars. And I think you already showcased him at 6 or 7 before. How much of a difference is that? And what team would you put him in ideally? The new Goku, obviously.
So he's really only going to fit on GT and Sun Family. That's where he's meant to be ran on. Obviously, right now, GT is still like in development right now. Right, we have the Zenkai Super 17 just came out, who's really good, and they just announced in VJump that we're getting the Zenkai for Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. So I think GT has a very solid foundation that's coming up soon, but it's not there yet. Maybe once the GT Vegeta comes out, I don't know if he's going to end up giving some kind of support ability to GT or whatever he's going to do, but maybe that could influence you potentially putting this Goku on there. But for now, Sun Family is a much better option for him, obviously due to the team, right? And to me, it just feels like there's way better options on Sun Family if you're going to run that team in general than using this character on the team. Like, you have literally infinite options on Sun Family. And I feel like this guy is probably one of the last things I want to put on that team right now. So for me, he doesn't really fit anywhere. And his kit is pretty bad. So there you go.
He takes way too much time to ramp up. Like in the beginning, he does technically nothing in terms of damage.
The one thing I don't like about him is the green and blue card not being, well, especially his blue card not being ranged. I have found myself in situations where it being a ranged blue card would have helped me quite a bit, as opposed to being, you know, you've got to travel over close range one. And the green card does make things tricky too, because, you know, for Sun Family, you're probably going to run like LF Super Saiyan 3 or maybe like a Namek Goku, and those characters too have a harder time getting rid of green cards as well, because, you know, LF Super Saiyan 3 is trying to counter something, Namek Goku's trying to throw somebody away, so I do find myself in difficult situations with that.
Yeah,
it's essentially the same as Namek Goku's green card that you just mentioned. It like you charge up.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Away.
You put them together, it makes things a little bit difficult.
It's way worse than Namek Goku's green card, because Namek Goku's green card gives you vanish.
Yeah, gives you like 2/3 of your vanish bar back. Yeah.
For me, I think the most detrimental part about the green card is you're essentially losing a time stop to use it with him. And for me, I found myself in a lot of situations where I'm like, okay, if I could use a green card now, I would at least see, okay, does he do anything or not? But then if you use the green card just out of a pure reflex, you're basically, usually they just vanish, especially because the ramp up animation takes long enough for them to just react and sidestep. And I also feel like this kind of cover change to me is kind of holding him back, because even if your opponent switches into, let's say you have a green unit on and you don't have a switch except for him, he switches into a purple unit. Do you really want to waste that one cover change that you want to save for a Rising Rush right now? Or, you know, do you just want to have the green unit take all the damage? So it's also kind of, it forces your hand in a way.
His green card is worse than green Future Gohan.
Because, yeah, Green Future Gohan's comes with 10 seconds of lockout, whereas Goku's only has 5.
Yep.
Which, I guess is, I don't know, it's okay. It's. I guess this would be the most usable if there's only 2 characters left, and, like, you have your Rising Rush, you're able to toss one, Beta Vanish, Rising Rush the second or something. I don't know, but it's very kind of niche. Like, I think all the Force Switch-Out green cards are objectively a lot harder to properly use than just, like, a regular green card.
I think the only thing where this one's better than the other green cards that swap you out is that this one has blast armor. I think that's the only
You're never
thing
going to ever... I think blast armor is like literally almost next to irrelevant on this green card, because you're never going to ever be pinpointing to use your green card with blast armor.
That's
like, you'd rather just not be in mid-range at all.
Yeah.
Especially
since it doesn't give you a combo, so why would you even bother, right?
Yeah. Like something like Metal Cooler's green card, I could definitely see why it has blast armor. But something like this, it's like you get the blast armor, you switch them out, and then what? Like, then you're just exposed.
Well, I mean, so your opponent cover changes, right? And you got one of these green cards on you. You can now force them to be locked into the next unit for the remainder. I mean, there's more than one way of looking at the blast card, and I've got to say, one of the green cards I've severely underestimated is Purple Broly's, forcing the swap out. And that has saved my rear on multiple occasions, just floating into my opponent and forcing the next unit to come out. I typically got my vanish by the end of the, that whole exchange. So I wouldn't crap too much on the blast armor on green card. I mean, most of the other points I would very much agree with, but no, I gotta say that is a situation where I very much would cherish to have blast armor on that Goku.
It's not all bad though. What I do like is, with it being a force switch, it feeds into his passive where he gets the damage passive in key recovery when there's a new opponent. So that's always great. Sometimes your opponent panics and they're like, oh, he's gonna force me to be stuck with this other guy, so I'm gonna switch, and then you force a switch, and then there's another unit, and you can really ramp up and stack buffs. But I just wish it would have been perfect if he restored Vanish. I think that would have been fantastic for him. Maybe grab that one little passive from, LF Broly or something like that. Just get that, let him stay on the field a little bit longer, because he does a good job of hitting hard, sure, but it's just, I don't know. It feels sort of incomplete in a way. I don't quite know how to phrase it. Like, on a technical level, he only brings that cover change. He doesn't have a long range blue card. The green card can be situationally beneficial, but with no card draw speed, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel whole. Doesn't feel complete. Kind of reminds me of the same issues that Full Power Super Saiyan 4 was plagued with too. It's like it's the pieces are there. It's just we need some glue to stick it all together.
The only real value, in my opinion, that this character brings is his cover rescue. Everything else that he doesn't do anything unique at all. He doesn't provide any value. He doesn't do anything that would that another unit that you could bring on both of his teams can't already do. I guarantee you, when Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta gets a Zenkai, he's going to be way better than this guy on GT. Like, there's no way you don't just run Red Green GT with him, Omega, and Super 17. I feel like that's going to be a much better team than using this Goku on GT. I feel like this Goku's going to get kicked off GT.
Well, we got the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta Zenkai, and that unit is actually somewhat of a support unit. His kit looks like he's trying to be a support for the Super Saiyan 4s. So we might, completely change our opinion here in a week when that Vegeta drops. And, but it shows us, a direct support for this Goku. Because one of the ideal situations I could see with this Goku is that, you save a unit to stop a major move, right? Great value there. And then his ultimate is a near one-shot if he's last man standing, or you already have a dead ally and you've got a good situation, if not color advantage. Other than that, I think when I look at this unit, I wish he gave something to the team. He doesn't really feel like he's feeding anything. He's giving himself key, but he's not giving key on swap out. He's not producing cards. He's not doing anything else besides being a threat to the Rising Rush. But hopefully with the Vegeta, we can see some, maybe the Vegeta giving this Goku support or card or anything, maybe on swap out to the Super Saiyan 4s would be incredible.
And I think his green card almost sometimes, I can see certain situations where that green card can be good. But kind of number one, like Pomsor said, it's not a time stop event, which is huge that it's not a time stop event. And also, I feel like in some situations, forcing a swap out can actually help the enemy. Like me, for example, playing with Vados. If you, let's say I just swapped out of Vados, and then you pop that green card and force me back into Vados, you're just helping my team get more buffs. So it's there's different ways to look at it. I think it could come in handy, but at the same time, there's situations where that green card with the force swap out could actually help the enemy in the long run. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I think one of the most detrimental things you can ever do to yourself with one of these force swap outs is if you're fighting like Bardock, or as you pointed out, Vados, and you force them back into that key unit so they can get the swap out bonus twice. But
exactly.
The other way of looking at it is, someone, you're comboing this Goku, and then you're worried about a strike or blast cover change, right, from your opponent. Well, you can just slap that green card, force a swap out. Now you put a 10 timer count on your opponent's ability to double vanish, and then you keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's the biggest thing, is locking a unit for 10 timer counts. Well, essentially it's 15 actually.
Whose gameplay is this?
That's Rioted.
Rioted?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You're using almost the identical team that I just main in PvP, which is General Saiyans. There's a couple differences, but the 2 Super Saiyan 3s and a couple other, I even have green Raditz on the bench, just like you, right? So I find for this particular team, there was no need to summon for this Super Saiyan 4 Goku because I already used Gogeta Blue on this team. And I really don't think that this Goku does anything even remotely as good for the team as Gogeta Blue does. As much as hate as Gogeta Blue has gotten, after this time, he's actually started to really show his value because, not only can he take hits pretty well, it does insane damage with his ult, but the green card, in my opinion, is much more valuable than this Goku's one here. So I personally would just run the Gogeta Blue over this Goku.
On a Saiyan team, you want to run that support Vegeta. He's infinitely better than this Goku on that team.
I just don't like the support Vegeta. I like Gogeta Blue. So and plus my support Vegeta is only 2 stars.
You don't like number 1 Vegeta?
Yeah.
What?
Nah.
Bro, that is the most obnoxious unit in the game right now. The only saving grace I have is Gohan. He just shuts
He's
your combo
obnoxious
down.
because of how good he is. He is the complete support. Just like how Vados is hailed really high, I think that guy should be as well. He does everything.
Dude, he is like the Vados for Saiyans. He is literally like the Vados for Saiyans.
I like Gogeta Blue better.
I was going to say, to be fair, Gogeta Blue is the most fun unit in the game. So.
Yeah, he is.
Especially
Vegeta
when you
Blue's
land
super
that green
fun.
card, huh? like,
Wait,
yes.
Even if you don't win that green card, Gogeta Blue literally takes a massive dump on this Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So
Yeah.
I think we're hating on the Goku a little much. I think he's not like Goku Black. He swaps on the field and you're like, ah, crap, now I got to deal with this. But he's not dreadfully awful.
I think he's dreadfully awful.
Yeah, I mean, you just think of what you just said though. Because Goku Black is still a regular sparking, and this is a LL unit, and like
yeah, he is.
It feels like they missed the ball.
In that.
Yeah, they missed the ball for this being an. If this was just a regular sparking, I think he'd be fine. But for an LL unit, I think they should have given him a little bit more value.
The only really good thing about this unit is the animations are really good. Everything else besides that, like I literally can't name a single thing that he does that I would like be happy to have him on my team to do besides cover rescue.
Yeah, you combine him with the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you have 2 cover rescues, and then that's like
yeah, I was about to bring that
actually
up. The double cover rescue.
To be honest,
Yeah, so
though,
the team that I've
like...
been using.
Go ahead. You first.
I was just gonna say the team that I've been using is the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the Super Saiyan 3 green one, and then UI Goku for like the most annoying team ever.
Wow.
Ooh,
You have
triple cover rescue.
You have the double like save ability, then you have the special cover change, and you have UI's dodging. So it's really annoying to fight, but
But doesn't it also
and-
make it hard for you because you then also have to kind of think about, can I switch right now or can I not? Because
Yeah, I mean, well, that's why, because UI Goku can let you stall for a little bit longer, but Super Saiyan 3 Goku can just tank. Right? His defenses are ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fair.
and real quick, the people that are using their UI cover changes and just sitting on them, you gotta think about how much your opponent's gonna get done in one combo. It doesn't have to be a Rising Rush you stopped. If you slip on the banana peel and your opponent starts a combo, it's not the worst thing in the world to immediately IT it, right? Especially if you got 2 units that do it on your team.
Oh
Like
yeah,
a lot of value in stopping the initial combo. They don't build the Rising Rush, you don't take the damage, and yeah, you reset the slate and they probably don't have the vanish, right?
Yep.
Fair point.
I wouldn't sit on your IT cover because a lot of people are bringing that up as a drawback to running Super Saiyan 3. Like one of the more obnoxious combos I've had to deal with is Super Saiyan 3 Namek Goku and the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. They just sit at the back of the map and don't do anything the entire fight. And God forbid you hit them, they stop the combo immediately, rinse, repeat. And you're not really reliant on Super Saiyan 4 Goku other than his cover change and then a random nuke with the ultimate. But it gets the job done.
Part of me wonders if they held back just a tiny bit on him because they're fully aware of the teams that he would go on. Because they know, like you said, like mentioned earlier, you probably want to throw him on Sun Family, and they gave him a cover rescue, so they're probably like, all right, we can't just give him everything, otherwise we've already added more gasoline to this giant fire of a tag. Part of me wonders if they did that.
You know what I feel is happening, real quick. The last thing I'll say, I swear I've been talking too much. This is giving me the vibes of when SSJ3 Goku came out.
How so?
Yeah,
What
the
do you
green
mean?
one, yeah.
We're trying to justify this unit. There's a clear division in the community, and he's gonna get a Zenkai come and be a god.
Well, yeah, but you can't balance. You can't intentionally hold back on a unit because they're gonna get a Zenkai.
Well, I'm not
later.
saying you should. I'm just saying this is giving me vibes of when SSJ3 dropped.
The biggest problem I have is if that's actually why they toned him down with what Raiden was talking about for his team. I would much rather have them just made him way better and only specifically be on GT than Sun Family, because Sun Family doesn't need a new character, right?
Yeah.
Sun Family is good for a long time. I would much rather them just focus on GT and make him really good, because clearly they're building up GT, right? They're doing it for a reason. The anniversary is clearly going to be in some way, shape, or form GT related. So if they're trying to like build up to that, this is a horrible way to start that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also feel like
I wanted to see
go ahead.
more GT specific buffs. Oh, my bad. I just wanted to say real quick. I wanted to see more GT specific buffs in his kit. Yeah, he has GT and Sun Family and his Z ability, but I just wish that there was more like passives built into his kit that would kind of force people to run him on GT. But yeah, go ahead, Pomzor.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that somebody brought up the point earlier that maybe the Vegeta is going to make him better, but I feel like that still wouldn't change the verdict of how he is as a standalone unit, because of course you judge him in the context of his team, but as a standalone unit, he's still not, like your cream of the crop for any of the teams he's on. And I feel...
But what if a unit comes out that's
Go
like Bardock for Super Saiyan 4s? and then suddenly this is one of the key units that just blows you up. That's what I mean. Like, we don't know what the future holds, and if GT starts getting some ridiculous buffs here in a moment, this might be one of the keystone units. Its Z ability at the very least has value attached to it at the end of the day.
Yeah, Z ability is really good,
Yeah.
but that's, I mean, an LF unit is gonna have that.
You should have that, yeah. All right, I feel like we still do have another unit to talk about on this banner, and that is the Extreme Goku Black. He's kind of a bit of an odd one out here just because he's on Future. Swift, did you pull him? And what do you think of the kit?
No, I didn't pull him, but I've kind of looked into his kit a little bit. So he is an EX support unit, so you can't really, expect top tier stats. But I will say his stats are a little bit on the low side. He does have a really kind of like a unique, good Z ability. At 14 stars, 36% to both strike and blast defense for tag Future and powerful opponent. But it does have to be Future and powerful opponent. It can't be one or the other. So that's kind of a important thing to note. And I think me and Tom were kind of talking before the podcast. I think part of his kit, like some of the buffs that are built into his kit, are also it has to be Future and powerful opponent, not one or the other. So for his teams, it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of more for some niche teams where, it's going to be maybe a full Goku Black team or, something along those lines where it's Future and powerful opponent. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to be a blue Future unit, and there's better options for blue Future. So you're really not going to be running this guy over, Vegeta Blue or Zenkai Blue Trunks and stuff like that. So I will say his art is incredible. I really, really like his art.
I think this guy's just waiting for the day when, like you said, a full team of like Goku Black and Zamasu is fully viable. Like maybe once Red Rose has gotten a Zenkai, red or purple Fusion Zamasu, then you throw this dude on the bench and you're good to go. Like
I'm honestly convinced they made this dude just to finish the type wheel of Goku Blacks, because we have every type but blue, and then if you look at this guy's Z ability and passives, it just says Goku Black or what? Cell. That's it. He's literally just meant to be run with himself or Cell. That's it. So I'm thinking like they're like, oh, we need a blue one. Throw him in there, and then they threw him in there.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, it really does feel like they're just completing the color wheel with this unit. Z ability is kind of superb. And that's where you could frankly just bench him right now, run Goku Blacks with Revival Cell, the exact same thing you've been using. It's just a little bit more optimal than what you had before. About it.
That's assuming you pulled enough of him to make the Z bench worthwhile.
Well, he's an EX, so you can commit. It's like I said, it's just probably a nod to the Goku Black fans. If you want a Goku Black that's blue, here you go. Have fun.
Yeah, so Tom, this is your footage in the background. What do you feel?
Well, I tried to supercharge him with a triple Zenkai buff and like OP equipment, and this guy's 2-star for me right now. He's doing decent damage, but you're never gonna play him over the Trunks or Vegeta Blue, the Zenkai Trunks, on a Future team. Like, he's in a niche team, which is eventually gonna come together with the Zenkai like the other Goku Blacks or release new ones, but he's just a fun unit for me right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like what the EXs typically that they've released recently feel like anyway, like just a nice addition to the team that's not really necessary.
Yeah.
Right? It's like what a lot of the EXs feel like. I think the one exception I would say to that maybe is like the Roshi, just because Dragon Ball Saga is such a limited team anyway. But yeah, like this Goku Black, Bojack, like all those EXs that have come out recently just sort of feel like filler that you can not run or choose to run depending on if you want to run them or not.
So I really like we have the EX Broly, the yellow one, and the new Trunks EX as well. I think their Z abilities are almost key for their team, and I'd really like to see more of that, because we kind of see that with this Goku Black going all the way up to 36. But I'm clicking on the Broly right now. He's 28% to Sagas or Saiyans, and then an extra 18% on top of it. So it's a little bit more extreme. And actually, I guess the Goku Black's probably more extreme because it goes to both of the stats all the way to 36. But I kind of like these units. As you said, they're not necessary for your team, but if you're summoning on these banners, you're probably going to pick them up. And if you're missing a unit, they provide the buffs all the way across the board. And, frankly, somewhat PvP viable, especially that new Trunks.
Yeah, so I I agree that the art is amazing, but I also haven't played him. I think I pulled him twice. I don't even know if I have trained him yet. I felt like just playing Goku a little bit, and that's pretty much it for me.
I mean, you have to be a fan of Goku Black to actually spend your free C power you get from, I guess, farming the co-op and whatnot. Like, he's not gonna be used, if we're being honest.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just better options for Blue Future.
What do you mean Trunks is better? At Zenkai 7?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Just a tad.
Or a unit called Vegeta Blue.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vegeta Blue's gotten even more use because he blocks Gogeta Blue and the new Super Saiyan 4 Goku. He'll block their IT with his ult, right? So they can't get out of it.
Yeah.
So that added even just a little bit more value to his ultimate move there.
This is a little off topic, but that new hit does the same thing too. I love that new hit.
Oh, he has the block special cover change when he activates his ult.
Yeah, or I think it's after he activates his main ability, he becomes immune to cover change, which is awesome.
It's like Majin Vegeta and Broly, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my
I
favorite
love
things about
those
Broly.
abilities.
Well, that's one of the things I was saying is Gogeta Blue having that built into the unit was one of the coolest things they ever gave him, because you could just
Yeah.
throw him on the field and start messing your opponent up, and you don't give a damn.
The only thing that sucks about the Vegeta Blue is that his is only once on the ult. The Gogeta Blue's got much better, I guess, like Jiren
Same
also,
for Jiren,
where
yeah,
it's just
exactly.
like timed, yeah. And Broly once you activate his main.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that this can also be somewhat of a trick or like a misdirect when, you know, early in the match you can still cover change into Broly and you can throw him off, but then once the main is popped and you forget about that, you can be thrown off by, hey, I'm gonna throw my unit in front of him, cover change, nothing's happening, right?
Yeah.
All right, I guess we don't have that much to say about the new Extreme Rosé or Goku Black. So the next topic is one that I'll be addressing a little bit, is the Tournament of Power Preseason 2 Region Extravaganza. I think if you pretty much look at the top of the leaderboard, everybody is playing Region this season. I have to say what I like is that they almost completely removed boost units. So the only boost characters basically that do more damage, I believe, are the new Goku and Goku Black. And I feel like now you have a much broader choice of team builds. I mean, I wanted to play a region just because it's my main team, but I know that other people also use, I don't know, GT, for example. I saw some people, or just plain old Saiyans. So what teams did you guys take into the TOP this season?
Well, I don't know if this is entirely accurate, and I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but the system confuses me a little bit, because if you go, someone explain to me what if there's no boost units, which this boost unit says it's only boosting the score, not your actual battle power. It's like
yeah. I don't understand the difference between these two battle bonus characters and boost characters.
Yeah,
and what's up with the tier 1, tier 2,
Yeah.
tier 3, tier 4, tier 5?
The tiers are just how much extra points they give.
Right,
So
like
tier 1 gives the
4%.
most extra points, and then like it goes progressively lower. So you want to use units that are in tier 1. But the thing I don't get is there's a separate classification for battle bonus characters, which are these Goku, the Goku Black and Goku, and then there's like boost characters, which is all those tiers. And I don't understand the difference between those tiers at all,
that's true.
or not the tiers, but I don't understand the difference between battle bonus characters and these boost characters.
I'm pretty sure these guys just give 1% more. I think they classified it as something different, but these guys I think give 4%, whereas tier 1 and the other guys it's 3% and then going down.
I
Tier
think
1 gives
Tier 1
4%.
gives 4.
Tier 1's 4%.
So what
Really?
Because I've seen this Goku and this Goku Black that said something about 2%. So what I'm wondering is, do they give
Yeah, they give 2%.
extra
They actually give
percent?
less. They
Yeah.
actually give less. Yeah, they give less.
So I was wondering, are those 2%?
Dang, I thought
maybe
tier
added?
5 was the good ones.
You're kidding.
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the highest
Did
number.
you
so
not
I
click
thought
on
they
the
were
other
best.
kit? Did you look at the other ones? You would have seen the numbers saying you get bonus. Like, it's just right there.
Doesn't
Either
say
way,
any of that. All it just says is 1, 2, 3,
Yes,
4,
it
5,
does.
and here's some units.
we'll just try tapping around next time. So I've been running hybrids. I gotta say, being able to pick my team, and because like our palms run regions, you get to pick his units, make a team, rereading their skills and rediving into legends. I'm sure it's gonna get old in a minute, but I gotta say, I had fun this week actually setting up a team that was comprised of the units I cared about, and watching them kind of go through the ladder. Way more exciting than clicking the pre-made team for me.
Universe and God Key or whatever.
I think the actual process of playing the mode is fine. I think it's just people not understanding how it works. Because again, I don't understand the difference between boost units and bonus battle, whatever. Like why are these two characters listed here when they provide less of a boost than the tier 1 units do? I also don't understand how the scoring works, because I have a team of full tier 1 characters. So the full team is fully boosted. I have equipment on every single character, and I've done the hardest stages that were available to me. I literally mapped out the path I was going to go down to get the maximum possible fists or whatever the difficulty is in my run. And I don't understand how there's people that have a higher score than me. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing?
I'm in the exact same boat.
So I think the one thing that probably also has an influence is how fast you kill them. Because I remember I got very low score on the last boss of the last TOP because I didn't kill that cell. And I think it's a little bit coming down to, I know that most people on the top have equips on, which I just frankly didn't
I have
care
equips
about.
on all my characters.
Oh, you do? Okay. So I figured, maybe they're killing them faster in some way, based on the order.
I have 14 stars in all my units, and I have full equips, and I have like a 4,000% ability bonus.
Are you running region?
Did you guys say there's some secret about like you're supposed to purposely let your team die and then you come back?
I think that was speculated.
Or what was it about?
It's way too
The
early
idea
for
was
anyone
that
to
if you
lose
purposely
anyways,
lose a
so-
fight, it knocks you backwards, and then you have to win 2 more fights, and that your accumulated score of fighting the 3 extra fights would actually be more than just keeping your streak going. But there was nothing to confirm it, at least to my knowledge.
I mean, it's also not something that's happening this early in the season anyways, especially not if you play with the top like region teams. They basically just heal themselves up after every fight and take almost no damage.
Yeah, so if you lose a match, you get sent back 1 space, but you still get points for losing, for whatever dumb reason they thought that was okay to do. So because there's time at the end of the season to keep going, like, at the end of last season, like I finished like 4 days left or something, so I was just sitting there for 4 days. Like, because there's time at the end of each season, like you have time to lose a few matches to get extra points.
Yeah, I think you can lose.
But is it more than your win streak going all the way through?
There is no established win streak bonus as far as I've seen.
There is. You get up to 20%.
I thought there was.
And it ramps up very slowly at first. So I guess the strat, if you were to lose on purpose, is to lose more towards the end. Which, I mean, this season with the teams you can choose, you're going to do anyways.
So if I'm at a point to where like some of my units are getting low on health, should I waste a slot on a health recharging slot, or should I just keep battling until I die?
Never do health recharge, never, or the team reformation. Never do those.
Yeah, I would say just go through, and then if you get set back 2 spaces, you can do 2 more fights.
Okay.
And you have time to still finish the TOP mode. So
When all of your units are dead, what happens then?
when all of your units
I think
are dead,
when all your units die, you lose, and you go back 2 spaces. I think once we start getting into the higher difficulty leagues, like because right now we're only in B, right?
Yeah.
I think once we start getting into the higher difficulty leagues, then the healing spaces and like the team swapping spaces will become more valuable. But right now we're in like these leagues that really doesn't matter what we do.
That's what I'm looking forward to, honestly, when it's like all you face is Zenkai 7 squares. It's like, oh, Zenkai 7 fusions again. Oh, crap, what are we going to do? And things now, because like right now we're just like, we're just dancing around it because we don't have to put much thought into it. But when it gets really difficult and you got to start paying attention to, how the passives apply buffs to certain squares and how people synergize and what the equipment means and understanding who's going to attack first and how you can maximize that stuff, I think that'll be fun. But I feel like that's only going to be realized when we get to like, I don't know if there's an S or a Z tier league, but it's going to be at those points.
I've found that I don't even really rearrange my team between every battle anymore, because every single individual character has like multiple buffs that activate depending on where you put them in the 9 square grid. And if they're not in that square, they don't get any of those buffs. So why move them around?
Well, sometimes I do that when, I don't know, one character is low on HP and there's one of the squares has like health restoration buffed up. So you get more HP back. Sometimes they come out with more HP than they went into the fight, for example. And sometimes those buffs aren't even that, like super important to have in the first place that you get from your team. Sometimes it just
I sat down and I made it to where my team pretty much supercharges a couple units, and they don't really take damage. They just annihilate by turn 2 the entire enemy team, and then move forward. And then I don't know what's healing me, but I'm just kind of cruise controlling through. And I was told just now, you know, I had to use the team reformation states because I didn't know that Super Saiyan 2 Gohan had a kit. So obviously I wanted to throw him on my team really quick.
The one criticism I have about this mode so far that I've seen in terms of the gameplay, not like the structure of it, is that I feel like a lot of these units, like 90% or something of these units that we have access to, all of their TOP abilities activate on the middle square. And it's like, there's no thought that goes into this because like I have a regen team. I would say like 5 out of my 6 regen units all have abilities that activate in the middle square, but like you have to choose one to put there. Otherwise, like, you know, all of the rest of your members don't actually do anything. So I'd rather them actually give these units abilities that activate on not just the middle square, so we can actually like strategize and not just put units randomly. Like I have my purple DKP in the middle square because he does like ridiculous abilities there, and then every other unit that I have, I just randomly put them in like the power-up spaces, and that's it.
Yeah, similar. Even though my DKP is on the bench, but I'm also running regen. So yeah.
Oh, Lucy in chat said they activate regardless. I don't know how true that is.
I mean, if it's only showing you like the middle square of your unit, I think it does activate wherever you put it.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
just
only.
It does?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
they
That's
only
very
use,
vague, and that's
Yeah.
not explained.
no.
at all.
You'll see blue squares lit up.
So, exactly.
Like my whole team is based off that.
So sometimes
Yeah.
you see that, you know, when your unit is on the middle square and then you see like the square right and left of it lit up, that means that the unit to your right and to your left is going to get a buff. But you can also put it in the front middle square, and then the unit in the top left and top right still get those buffs. Right? So you can rearrange.
But I'm talking about in the details page where you look at like their abilities, like it only has the middle square blue.
Yeah, because it doesn't do anything. If you are looking at your game right now, pull up Kid Goten for instance, and you'll see that at the start of turn 1, you'll see 2 lit up blue squares. That units in those squares will receive his buff, and you'll see his little figure that's showing his location as representation on the board. So you'll see that to his front, left, and right squares, he'll give them a permanent damage increase. So if you don't see any squares lit up, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it just buffs
Nothing's
itself
happening.
wherever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
like
think, I
a
think we're
great
talking
example.
I think we're talking about 2 different things. I'm talking about like the grid in the ability is just the middle square is blue. That's it. There's nothing else.
Right, that's just you. That is the unit being affected by it. That is their representation of the unit being on the board. So if you look over to a unit like transforming Purple Trunks, he buffs everybody, and it'll say that in the text, and it won't represent it by having any blue squares lit up. But if you go to Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, you'll very clearly see the squares that he affects around the unit.
Right. So if you use purple DKP as an example that you used, for example, then he only has the middle square, and I think that only means he buffs himself wherever he is, because he has no effect on your allies.
So I can put him wherever I want.
Yeah, that's how I understand that.
Okay, because that's really not explained at all, and they did a terrible job with that.
And then if you scroll to the second ability, you see like there's still 2 red squares, so that attacks like your enemies, and I'm not entirely sure if that affects the enemies on that position on their board. So that's also something
I believe it is.
I feel like a lot of this stuff they just threw it out and they didn't really explain any of it.
Yeah, but also I guess
they should have had a video where they ran through everything
tutorials
when
and
they
stuff.
released the mode.
Tutorials and stuff.
Yeah.
So here we're gonna make a region team.
I mean, I guess this is also part of the preseason. Is we noticed that hey, this isn't clear at all. Let's make that clear once we actually get either to the next preseason or, you know, when the
I mean, it's
full
very
thing
clear
starts.
that this is super vanilla, and they're using us as guinea pigs in this like alpha test phase of this mode, right? So
I literally forgot about this mode for 4 days.
Yeah, I played it.
I was like, oh yeah, I should probably play it.
Yeah, I played it also on I think on the 2nd or 3rd day, so I lost like and luckily I only lost like an hour and a half of the TP, because once that is full, you kind of start losing time. So you
you notice once it fills up and you have 5 out of 5, the counter goes to 24 hours for you to get the next one to give you a little bit of leeway there.
It does.
Yeah. If you build up to 5 energy and you can't have any more, instead of being 12 hours, the timer's 24 hours, so you have a whole day.
It does. Yeah, because I actually was at 5 out of 5 because I didn't play the mode for like 5 days or something because I forgot about it.
Fair.
Oh my goodness. I thought I was pessimistic, and I started enjoying it.
I like it.
My only issue with the mode is in its current state, it feels just like a menu clicking simulator. I think it would be nice if they streamlined the way the battles play out so they're not as long, so you don't have to just sit there watching buffs activate for like 30 seconds.
That's true.
If they streamlined that and just made you watch them, and each fight took maybe like 10 to 15 seconds, like boom, you watch it. Because like forcing you to watch it, I mean, yeah, some people would be like, I like just clicking through and being done with it and moving on with my day. But if they want it to feel like an actual game mode, they should, I don't know, I feel like they should prioritize the gameplay experience a little bit more.
I feel like if you
Here's
can
the
just skip the buff portion, that would be fine for me.
Or if it just streamlined it, so boom, you start the battle and all the buffs just activate at once. And if you want details, you can like click on a character portrait or something. Like, and then it just plays.
Something else that seems to affect if you're tier 1, tier 2 is how often people use the units. So if Regen is massively overused this season, that team should get knocked out. And I think that's what's going to give this mode longevity, and where I want to walk back a lot of my statements being like angry at it, because I think that if a meta is figured out, it's going to get exhausted. And unlike our current PvP system where, you know, Gresh even in one of his latest videos complained that it's not reasonable for anybody to play anything but 18 or Gohan at the current moment, right? And so you're that's all you see. But if you were encouraged to play other units, more points, whatever the hell it was, right, then people would switch it up. And TOP is going to do just that. If people exhaust Regen and play the crap out of it on the leaderboard, they're all going to be tier 5 units next season. They're not going to yield as much points, and you're going to have to start getting creative. And I think that's when people that truly understand this mode and understand how the units interact with each other are going to start shining.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but the mode is just clicking through menus right now. I want some actual gameplay associated with it.
The gameplay is understanding the units and then seeing how they synergize with each other, and then saying, "Oh crap, that's no longer a tier 1 unit," and then you know the unit that slots into the
fight. There are no units. There are no anything. It's just you clicked on a menu and it's like, "Oh, you're done. Here you go." Like,
yeah, you can watch them. I watch mine every day. And I think that there is gameplay, and the gameplay is theory crafting. I think I spent more time reading the units.
That's like playing D&D on paper. Like, you're not actually playing you're playing a game, but there's nothing visual to go along with it. It's just purely menu clicking. That's my problem.
Oh,
I guess agree to disagree.
Exactly. I found out that I like
there is no fights. There is no mode. It's just click on a button, skip. Click on a button, skip. Click on a button, skip. Like, that's not optimal for a game mode. No other auto battle simulator in the world, be it like Dota Auto Chess or Dota Underlords or TFT or any of them, Battlegrounds, Marvel Duel, none of them have zero focus on gameplay, and it's just like, oh, hey, here's your team. Oh, you won, you're done. Like, they all show something. And chat's got this. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, on the point of like the lesser represented units are better next season, like they give more points. I feel like, what if that's something that they're trying to experiment with in the TOP so that they could potentially implement that into PvP too, where it's like 50 million billion jillion people used Gohan in 18 last season. If you use them on your team this season, you're going to get like 8 times less RP for winning.
I think that for me personally, right, when you guys first met me on this podcast and everything, I was still running Gohan. It's clearly like the guy I like to use, right? And I feel like you make that move, you have now punished me. I didn't choose for that unit to be overpowered, but that's my favorite unit, and you're going to rip it away from me just for that one reason alone. And I don't like that. I'm certainly not trying to get carried by the character. I'm just a fan of it. And
yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, the same thing would actually happen to Ryuden at this point. They made his Goku good. Everybody's going to use his Goku, and now he can't use it anymore.
Honestly,
I mean, he could,
it's okay if
but
only I can use him.
Actually, the green Super Saiyan 3 is a 3% boost right now, so arguably usable.
Well, no, I'll tell you, OP. Gresh is saying translate this over to the PvP ladder.
Oh, doing your standard and wild format, yeah. Well, no, because they don't.
No. He's talking about how if you use units right now, you can see that there's an artifact of a boost system that used to exist in the game, and then they just give you items. And that he's saying that you would get an RP boost based off the units that are underrepresented. So like if you take out Heartfire's Goku, you should get like 100 times RP for actually pulling that W out of your ass, right? I'm sorry for my language, but that's what he's aiming at. And then since Gohan is used by 99% of the community, if they're not using 18, then maybe we shouldn't reward these players as steeply with RP. But I think that's what the rank ladder is supposed to do in the first place.
You just get more if you use the less
Yeah,
used
okay,
characters.
let's remove the you get less RP for using overused characters. Let's just say you don't get punished for using any characters, but you get rewarded for using underrepresented characters.
That'd be cool.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Because then you have to sweat 5 matches worth in one match because you decided to bring Heartfire's Goku against Zenkai 7 Gohan, Namek Goku, and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, if you win, hey, here you go, buddy. Here's 500 RP for that W.
Bro,
But it can't turn into a bot. That's the caveat. It can't turn into a bot. Otherwise, that's not fair.
Well,
Y'all
then
gonna feel
people
so
are just
cheated
gonna
with
be
my
cheating
bro
again.
when you land the Rising Rush and the guy, I'm gonna forfeit this match, and then it disconnects, and you're sitting there like, bruh.
That feels like one of the ideas Toshi would suggest, and the executives higher up would be like, no, and then just be like,
Yeah,
okay.
remember when they gave us free 14-star units to try to balance it out? Yeah, that didn't work.
The thing is they already kind of do something like that where they have boost characters for the season, but you just get the reward stinks. I'm pretty sure you only get 1 extra adventure and like 1 extra RP or something like that.
You don't get
No,
RP,
you just get an adventure. You get an adventure. Great.
Oh, okay.
One of my
Like-
millions of adventures.
I liked Gresh's Twitter idea better, of kind of copying the Hearthstone format of having 2 separate seasons, one that you just use anything the game has ever released, and then a newer season where only newer sets or like newer team builds are actually even usable at all, right? And then you could choose which mode you wanted to play.
Cool.
Yeah, you could choose which mode you wanted to play, and like so the core Legends experience that people paid for would still be intact, so that their bottom line wouldn't get hurt. But then they'd have that new mode where you're like, oh, did you know only the characters from the past 3 banners are usable in this mode or something like that.
Yeah.
And then
I
know
think,
that would be really neat, I think.
no, because the people that are going to dominate that mode are going to have all 14-star of the latest units, and you're
Well, then
back
you
to
just don't
the
play
year
that
one
mode. You play
Legends.
the other one if that's
Certainly,
your
and then
thing.
you've split the community. Like in the best case scenario, you've now split the community, and you have a whole different issue with your queue.
Well, it works
worst
for
case
Hearthstone.
scenario-
That's what I'm saying. You can pick
Well,
which mode.
you're talking about Hearthstone. You're not talking about Dragon Ball Legends.
No,
I mean-
no. They would have to revamp matchmaking. That's the
They
only
would
way
they would
will.
100% have to fix matchmaking.
Yeah.
But I would just be apathetic personally, and I'm sure many others would look at the new mode and be like, great, I'm just gonna go in there with these new units I don't have, or I can use the units that I already own and keep competing. And I believe in Gresh's video he was talking about, hey, have seasons and powers and stuff, and if you're going for that approach, and we've long since crossed this road, but the model they should model after is Pokemon. They have units that are really just frameworks of other characters. They don't exceed new stat thresholds. Legendary, if you would, is like 600 plus. But there's tiers of characters, and they never deviated from that. There are a few outlier characters that have just extreme situations in their stats, but they're not just straight up power crept. It's not as interesting for a gacha formula. Gacha formula needs power creep to keep people thinking that, oh, I've got to summon for the latest and greatest. But I just...
All right,
I think
feel
that's
like,
the real trap we're in.
I feel like we're digressing just a tiny bit. So I think we can move on to the next topic, which is.
Well, let me just
okay.
say one more thing about the TOP really quick.
Go.
I have seen a lot of Japanese players really not liking this mode. A lot. So I feel like that's where we're going to see changes come into play, is because they listen to them a lot.
Do you know what they don't like about it?
They just think it's boring and they don't understand how to play it.
Okay.
Like I've seen so many complaints on Twitter from every single Japanese player that I've seen talk about the mode. No, not a single positive thing has been said about the mode. So expect to see major changes.
Yeah, I mean, it is a preseason and they said they would, so I guess that's going to happen. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is Ultra Goku again, but now we actually have him at 7 or even 8 stars. Ryuden, have you leveled him up and tried him out?
Yes, I did. I didn't get him completely soul boosted. I'm like 150% off, and that's all because I have no rare medals because I was an idiot and I spent it on super souls way before this all happened. But he is so much better. I mean, it's obvious. You give him more stars, he gets higher boosts. Of course he's going to be better, but I feel like a unit like this is just amplified even further because he has so many % damage buffs, and he also has a pretty high sustained damage cut percentage as well. So you give him those extra stats and he can take it super far. He's getting what, 90% damage inflicted alone just for having a full Saiyan team all around him. So he puts in quite a bit of work. The higher stats benefited him greatly, and I know for a fact that when he hits 14 stars, when we all get him to that point, he's going to be a monster. I already see people running him on their Saiyan teams now. I guess they prefer the additional Z ability as opposed to Zenkai 7 Gogeta. Not saying he replaces him, but people just like the additional synergy, and he's awesome. He's great. Far better. 100%. I'm sure everyone else feels the same way.
Mine's only 5 stars, but I think he's usable.
Yeah, I would use him. I would use him any day over the Gogeta because of the C ability. Like, you're trying to squeeze out the best of all of your units, and if you have Gogeta on your Saiyan team who only buffs fusions, then you're missing out.
What if you have red Gogeta and then yellow Gogeta, so they buff each other? That's kind of what I do.
You're just running fusions at this point.
Yeah.
No, those are the only 2 fusion units on the team. The rest.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 of my units are fusion.
They're also
This is a
Saiyans,
fusion
though.
team.
And they
Yes,
buff
and my
movie
hybrid
characters.
team is also a Sun Family team. What's your point? I think that I don't know. I agree with Tom. I'm a stickler for when I'm setting up Z abilities, and he is definitely optimal if you're trying to set up the Super Saiyan team. I prefer him over Red Gogeta at this point. I think if you're a twitchy player, then we can start talking about that green card on Gogeta. But as a general unit you can swap into and just do some damage, this Goku's super fun, and he's got that blast cover.
I don't know. I think the Gogeta has way superior kit, just in terms of the feint, blast armor, green card, like healing.
Oh, you're not wrong on that front. Like, it definitely hurts me when I see an exclamation mark and I press his main ability and I know it's a blast card and I can't do anything about it. It hurts for sure. But I'm a big fan of long-range green cards that can fetch you priority, like Turles' green card, this guy's green card. I'm a huge fan of those, so I'm not gonna take that away from him. I know it stinks that he doesn't gain key from it, but I'm not gonna punish him too much for it because he has a pretty good amount of cost reduction for his cards, and you can run him alongside a lot of units that give him a stupid amount of key anyways, like Angel Vegeta for example. But he's definitely going to be a monster once everyone maxes him out. I honestly think when people get him to 14 stars, I really do think people are going to be using him over the Gogeta. I really do think it's going to be highly possible.
Well, another thing he's offering is when you put the Gogeta on your team and you find a blue purple Saiyan team, you're probably not wanting to run that Gogeta. And when you don't take that Gogeta into combat, you have now wasted one of your 60 abilities.
That's a good point.
That's where this Goku really starts to shine. Is back onto his general synergy with the team. It goes beyond his on-field kit. It's his support to the rest of the team.
I'm not saying he's bad. I just personally prefer the Gogeta.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
can
Zenkai
understand
7
why.
Gogeta
That
versus
Gogeta is a
5
monster.
stars.
Or even at
The
7
main,
stars,
Well,
I think I would
unit
still
versus
probably
unit,
prefer Gogeta.
unit versus unit, Gogeta definitely is better. But as we're talking about the synergy of the team, I think this Goku found his place over the Gogeta.
I agree. I think the biggest argument though comes down to the fact that they essentially gave the Gogeta out for free, right? And it was arguably way easier to get the Gogeta than it was to get this Goku in terms of the grind you have to do.
Yeah.
So it just feels weird. Like, they release a Gogeta is way better than Goku, but Goku fits better on the Saiyan team. So it's just like there's a trade-off there, but it's like, how much does it actually matter? I don't know.
He's another
I'm
cover
also-
rescue too.
I'm not a huge fan of melee supers that don't have blast armor in this day and age. It's a little tougher to
Also, can we talk
master.
about how much of a bummer it is that they put the TOP equipment in the rare metal shop like right before we soul boost this guy? That is such a bummer.
Yeah,
You mean
rare metals went from worthless to
That's literally the
value.
reason why I couldn't finish the Goku Day 1.
Yeah, me
because I
too.
bought all those clips.
Yeah, same.
so dumb.
It's a bummer, man.
Those TPO items should be like, we're gonna have a dedicated mode. If I don't want another resource, but dual coin something. One of the shops where we get resource for playing TOP. You know, you get the Zenkai Rush gives you the Zenkai resource. You go to the old banner and you get your stuff. It shouldn't be our rare medals, should
well,
it?
even equipment medal. I feel like the TOP equips should have just been in the equipment medal shop.
Or just not be equipment. Can we just have it? It really didn't feel like I was adding an extra layer here. It just felt like now I'm having to re-roll again.
You don't like the fact that they take up space?
No, no, I don't. I think that if I'm gonna try to say if I could just change one thing about Legends right now, just remove that. I'm sure I could come up with some better answers, but that's one of the more annoying things they've ever come up with.
Yep, I agree with that. And the fact that some people are already pretty pressed on space in the equip box. You have like 30 left, and then you take 6 or 8 characters, 2 equips each. That's like 12 to 16. So then you have like 14 left. It's nothing. And you play PvP a lot.
Imagine they start awakening.
Oh god.
Let's go.
And I don't know, people said this might not be feasible because too much work, but just like the characters themselves, like, oh, they didn't have TOP abilities, now the mode exists, now they have TOP abilities also. It would have been nice if they just took the equipments and just gave the same equipments TOP abilities as well, like where you could just use the same equipments in both modes and they would just have the different effect instead of having a completely different set of equipments.
They reuse the art.
I know. It's like they could have just ported over the same equips that we already have, and made them dual mode purpose, just like the character abilities.
I mean, they didn't just reuse the art; it's also the same name.
Yeah.
Get out of the way, or out of the way, or whatever.
Come on.
It's like, okay, it's the same equipment.
It'd been so much better if they just made them the same equipment.
They did exactly what NAS is asking for, and just like, nah. New item, new inventory space, just let's do it.
Yeah.
But with the same items.
I mean, especially because that's the one thing that keeps you from playing the game. It's literally the only thing that blocks you from playing the game if it's full, right? And so capitalized on that one.
I have been on one equipment slot for a month.
Holy, how do you even
so
do
every
PvP?
game you have to go sell one?
After every single match, I have to sell equipment.
Or every single time skipping, or every single time even trying even TOP
Yep.
mode doesn't let you play if your equips are full.
Yep, every single time.
It won't happen due to the nature they set this up, but Dragalia was having this issue, right? And they made it to where, similar to Z-Power, items in that game just become unlocked. You literally unlock copies, and then you have max copies, you can just use the item unlimited, right? Imagine if items in this game work like Z-Power, and you just had a catalog of all the items you collected and their current level and how much you've worked on them, and you could just go through and finish them instead of having 6 copies of the same awakened bullcrap item. I mean, I hate the item system in this game. The auto sell feature made it less painful to farm them, but it is the most convoluted thing I've dealt with in a gacha game.
I think the equipment system in this game is like the worst thing about the game by far.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think that extends not only to just the equipment system, but just all the items in the game, period. Like the level of disorganization and all the different shops, all the different currencies, souls, nettles, like they could consolidate a ton of that and make it just like a universal currency, like a universal shop, and then universal equipments. Like they could streamline a lot of the back end inventory management of this game.
They probably
didn't Toshi say something about how like they can't add more more equipment slots because like something about the game or the people's phones can't handle it?
Whoa,
no, it's no. Okay, here's what it is. It's the server. Like every time you add equipment slots to your box or whatever, it adds to the server like load or whatever it is. But the way you get around that is you just sell more equipment slots to people. They will buy them. I will buy them. Give us the option.
Buy more server space.
Yeah, when you buy equipment slots, you are literally buying server space.
Yeah, or resources for processing as well. So just
his other excuse that is if everyone had more, then it would increase the overall load times of the game, which I'm not entirely sure. Like if they just gave everyone like 30 or 40 more slots, I'm not sure how much the load time would actually go up. Like everyone already has like,
I don't think it would go up at all.
We already have like 350 each. Like what's another 40 or 50 gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's a system that nobody's enjoyed. If you guys remember the old item awakening system, it was used by the people that were really just striving to be the best, and that was it. Nobody touched that nonsense, right? And I think that they got good feedback by seeing nobody use the system, and they overhauled it. I am by no means am I saying boycott the item system by not going for items, but it really feels like they understood with the item selling thing that sucks. Now we're getting to the item limit, and it's like we just like cut the cord and just redo the entire system and get rid of it. Because the Z power, as far as the collection gacha is concerned in this game, I adore it. Not having to sell extra copies of your unit in your box after you're done with a summon session is amazing. I don't know how you guys feel coming for Dokkan. Maybe you get more value out of exchanging your crap.
It's way better in Legends. It's way better.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that the management aspect of the game was removed for me, right? Just summon, get my units, go experience the game. If items was that streamlined to where you just did the event, you get copies of the item, and you got a random value that got to increase the stat on the item, then people would farm events. It could cost thousands of energy to finish an item, sure, but you're finished. And it would also encourage players that have this apathy in the community that I'll never achieve Z, and frankly S is still hard for me anyways, right? They'll maybe start experiencing it. You'll just naturally start achieving this stuff. I know a lot of people have spent a lot of money on their items, and I have no idea how they could translate that into the new system so people don't feel like they got legitimately shafted IRL. But I feel like that would be a real 3.0 patch if the item system itself was completely removed and overhauled.
That's actually a really interesting idea, like possibly some type of grindable equipment instead of like relying on RNG to re-roll it, like maybe just like equipment that you can grind for. It's actually really interesting.
It just works like Z power, man. Just have a random value. Maybe you need 20,000 to finish an item, and you get 2 for doing, you know, a multi on it. Whatever. It takes forever, but you could finish them. I don't know.
Alrighty. I think we can.
Yeah, so Ultra Goku's great.
Exactly. Speaking of which, right? But I think now we have a topic coming up that Tom is, I think, a little passionate about. And that is the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta Zenkai that was announced. So let us hear it. What are your thoughts? What do you expect?
Yeah, so I have mixed opinions about this guy. Let's say he's gonna get the freezer or cooler treatment. He's still gonna be good. And if he's gonna get the SSJ3 purple treatment, he's gonna be insanely good. Like if he does, dude, it's over. It's over. But if we're looking at his stats right now, maxed out, he has 254 blast damage, like base, and he has to this day pretty decent damage multiplicators in his unique and main ability. He's gonna hit so hard. I think if they do him right, then he's gonna rival Gohan's damage. Easily. And he's also a support unit with his main ability, which is insane. Like, if they do him right, Vegeta fam is gonna be up there in the meta, and GT is gonna be there as well.
I was looking through his kit, and I was like, if they give this guy a blast card on entry and any kind of damage, we've seen a very common trend is that they're getting 20 to 30% damage reduction. His kit is already there. If you read his first 2 passives, you're like, okay, that is actually a modern unit just with less stats. And then his main ability is a pseudo support. Yeah, they give him just a little nudge in the right direction and boosts up to 1.5 million. He's gonna be popping people left and right.
That he's supposed to be even more blast specialized, and I think that he's going to get a green card that changes his strike into blast cards, right?
Yeah, it doesn't say green card. It just says he has the ability to. So whether or not it's green, it's probably going to be green card. But I guess it could also be, whenever he enters, like how Kefla changes blast to strikes when she enters.
21.
Could be main ability. I mean, it doesn't tell us, but I imagine it's green card.
Yeah, I would say the on entry is the other most likely scenario, and he also has the feint on his ult too. So he's gonna be
30%.
problematic. I could see them potentially buffing him offensively, but leaving him alone defensively, so he's still relatively easy to kill. But he's gonna be an absurd glass cannon because he's already kind of glass cannon.
So
he's
no
gonna be
matter what
good.
they do to him, even if it's the purple Broly treatment, like you just give him 1 damage inflicted passive with Zenkai 7 stats, that's it. his kit is still great. You just give him the stats that he needs, and anything beyond that, he's definitely up there for being a beast.
He's
He already has.
He's gonna do pretty good against the LS Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You think he's gonna melt him? What do you think?
Yeah, and one blast
Yeah,
card.
two
It's
shots.
going to be a question between one or two blast cards.
So
He's literally gonna kill him in one card.
It's gonna be between
Yeah.
one blast card or one blast card and one tap.
He's got. He already has the massive modifier on both his blue and his ult, so there's gonna be no shortage of damage coming from this guy.
hear me
think-
out. They gave him the support ability for his main. It's just daydreaming. Would they give him the Super Saiyan 4 treatment like Bardock got? Because I would
I
love
think
it
he's-
if he buffed the Super Saiyan 4 tag.
They're never gonna make a Needle like Bardock again. There's no way. They know they messed that
Yeah,
up
they
really
would
bad.
just pigeonhole themselves into a corner, right?
Well, no, I'm not saying I got to give him the crit multipliers to that extent, but we've seen units like Goten, Cooler, and whatnot come out. I'm thinking more along the lines of get key, swap in, and maybe 30% damage inflicted by GT Saiyans when he swaps out, which essentially is all the Super Saiyan 4s.
I was thinking more something along the lines of how they did LF Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, where like he gives 10% damage for those specific tags every time he uses a blaster strike card. Maybe this guy can do GT or Vegeta Family Strike and blast attack 10%. For every strike or blast cards he used or something like that. So
That'd be cool.
I mean,
that actually sounds awesome.
he's gonna have like 290k blast attack, I think. I don't think they're gonna go over 300 in terms of stats. Like maybe 10k more to the defenses. He's sitting at 160 right now. And yeah, all he needs is like 30% more damage, and then he's good.
No matter what they do, he's definitely going to be a monster. Even just
So-
Zenkai 7 stats.
We saw the LOE team get 2 Zenkais. I was kind of honestly hoping to see Sin Shinron or GT Vegeta get a Zenkai, but now that we've gotten 2 GT Vegeta, two GT Zenkais in a row, you think they're tapping out at GT, or are we still going to get more Zenkais 2 weeks from now?
dude, if they Zenkai purple Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it's over.
Or baby.
No. Regen is already too
Please,
powerful.
No, baby.
Oh, whoa, hold on. I'm talking about the green one. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, okay.
The best
okay,
unit in
okay.
the game.
No,
If
he's
they
already too
Zenkai
powerful.
him,
He's
it's
already the
over.
best unit.
Best unit in the game.
NASA, you robot.
Yeah, my
No,
frame rate on
it's-
my camera is like dropped
It's like
to
10.
nothing.
He's experiencing the same problems as me.
Yeah.
I wonder
You
why.
guys are getting
Yeah, we'll look
snapped
into
out.
that after this podcast. Sorry about that.
I'm just I'm hamming up my low frame rate.
Sounds good, Mimi. So with that Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta Zenkai incoming, what do you think the trajectory for the GT? Where do you think the GT team is going, and what can that mean for other neglected tags, Nas?
I definitely think it's going to become the Android 18 killing team. Like, you see Android 18, you throw a blue card from this Vegeta adder. I think it's going to very much so even out the odds if you're running that team versus that matchup. But I still think GT... I mean, you're pretty much relegated to having to use Super 17 and then this Super Saiyan 4. So your team is still somewhat predictable. Like, at this point, I think GT still needs a little bit more spice and variety, which Toshi seemed to indicate that they would be getting, quote-unquote, one way or another. So I think they're almost there. I think they'll have a perfectly fine battle squad at this point once he releases, but they're going to need a couple more optional rotations, just for... the mix-ups, right? I think that's pretty much where they're going to be at. But exceptionally good at killing yellow units. This Vegeta in mind.
We're probably going to see a bit of buffs as we go along, and then I think it's going to be GT appetizers, and then we're just going to get the main course during third year.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost no way that we don't see like a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, right? Like,
Yeah, they want to set up his tag to at least be good. Can you imagine if GT stayed the same and then you get the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta? They're like, oh, what the hell? This team sucks. He's not good for GT. He's not going to carry it enough. So
Yeah.
probably some Zenkais, some new units to go alongside it, because they need new Z abilities. The Super Saiyan 4s are strong, sure, but I mean the single buff is not going to cut it. They need double.
You know
So you
something's
think
wrong when I'm using red GT Goku on my bench for that team.
Yeah.
Kid Goku?
Yeah.
yeah. But ultimately, I mean, I don't know. I think GT is gonna become, it's gonna get there, but it's just limping along. It's took its sweet time getting there for sure.
Well, if they keep dropping units like the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, then we've gotta throw hands on whether he's even viable or not. I think they're gonna keep dragging their face through the mud, so they've got to give him a ringer, a unit that is entirely based into GT, kind of like how you guys were saying, where it is just a GT unit, not one of the Super Saiyan 4s before they drop that Gogeta. I'd really like to, not Rildo, but a character like that only exists within the GT universe.
Like Oob.
Maybe they release a GT unit that works like the Rising Battle Broly, where he provides sustained damage cut for Super Saiyan 4s or GT units. That would make
maybe a new free to play to kind of tie it all together.
I feel like they released this guy now, and he's just meant to be like the hard hitter for that tag. But the other guys that are going to act as the glue to bring everything together still aren't out yet. So maybe he looks like he's out a bit early, but the other ones are going to flush everything together.
Well, they know 3 months, 4 months in advance the units are done, right? So anniversary is set in stone at this point, I would assume. So they already know all the GT units you guys are going to get, and have probably already played with the teams and them all put together. So I'm hoping it's like Rival Universe and all that, to where you're going to get the dogs and they're going to be like, eh. But then as everything else starts coming together, if you did pick it all up and you got the items, then you got a considerably powerful team. It's not the best, but still really powerful. I'm hoping that's what GT sits on here soon.
Yeah, I mean, zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, almost every single pinnacle story arc unit has been covered by Legends at this point. We're only missing the end of the Goku Black arc, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and the final little Shadow Dragon segments, and like MUI Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, Vegeta, and Full Power Jiren. Like, other than that,
Jr.
and Scarlet Jr. is the pinnacle. Like, he's the emperor. But besides that, everything has really been covered. So I really think that the anniversary is gonna reveal one or two of those final remaining pinnacle moments. Yeah, God Topo is also part of that whole thing. I just don't want to list off everyone. But the very end of the TOP arc, the very end of Goku Black, and the very end of GT are the only things that still don't have representation in the game. Everything else has been represented by like the first, sometimes even second or third wave of characters from that arc. And then other than that, we're kind of finished, and they're just going to have to move on to revisiting units, doing more of like the support assist duo units with more hype characters. Like, it's about time for them to come up with some new ideas. I think Ultra was definitely like the first wave of that, because they know they're nearing the end of the first version of everything that's going to come to the game here soon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ultra is definitely probably going to be like the stepping stone into some new ideas for sure.
No, we still have Dragon Ball Saga.
Yeah, but I don't think they value that as much as they should. Like, I mean, and Evil, the transforming DKP, that was like the pinnacle final fight from Dragon Ball.
I mean, no, Piccolo Jr. versus Goku.
Well, yeah, the
like
World
pinnacle,
Tournament.
but that's one of the pinnacles, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, other than that, we got the rocket launcher, Yamcha, Young Bulma. Like, what do we could get transforming Oolong or something. Like,
General Blue, we could get.
Yeah,
I mean, we Mercenary
fucking
Tao,
Tao,
like
yeah.
the Mecha Tao, yeah.
Well, Mercenary Tao himself deserves like a really solid unit.
I
Not
agree
an
with
LF,
that.
but like a really solid. Like, I mean, if they really want to do like the tongue LF, they could, where he kills General Blue with his tongue. He could have a counter with like putting his like slipper up or whatever and like blocking the bullet.
Blocking a bullet. Yeah, dude, that sequence was so dope. Also,
we need an actual tambourine, the first character to kill a main character, the first enemy to kill a main character in Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah, true.
I think even like doing setup like Vados, or maybe not as strong, but like EX Whis with Master Shen going along with Mercenary Tao. It could be a really neat little combo.
I mean, we could get like a transforming Roshi into full power. I mean, there's a lot they could do with Dragon Ball. They just choose not to.
Someone just said something in chat that
disappointing.
would make Zenrod really happy. Is I want Arale, or was it Woki?
I think their main apprehension with that is I don't think they think a banner with like tambourine would sell, right? That's got to be their main holdback point, right? But that's also what they could do to get those characters in the game, is what I said they should do a GT, which is they throw those characters on banners with other hype characters, and then, you know, those hype characters will carry the sales, and then we'll be also able to build a meta Dragon Ball or GT team based off of all our extra pulls on the banner, right?
That's how Dokkan did it sometimes too. Like Dokkan released LR Bardock, and then on LR Bardock's banner they released Lord Slug because they knew nobody was gonna nobody's gonna summon for Slug. That's sort of what they did in Legends too. They released Lord Slug with LF Gohan. Like how random was that? Because they knew nobody was gonna summon for Slug on his own banner, so they just threw him on there.
No, obviously he was hype himself, right?
But if
but Slug was everywhere in that meta. He was terrifying.
Well, yeah,
he's got
I'm just saying
card.
the character's not popular, right? That's why they did that.
Yeah, it wouldn't drive sales, especially in the Japanese community. Like, they wouldn't be shelling out money out of their wallets repeatedly. Like, oh, let me get Lord Slug. I have to 14-star Lord Slug. Here, take 10,000 million yen, right? Like, they wouldn't do that. So
I think if they make the kit spicy enough, you can sell anything.
At a face value, I still think a bunch of people would just see the unit and just sleep on it, even if it was really good. Like, if you release Tambourine, and he's like one of the best units in the game.
Oh, please, I want Tambourine so bad in this game.
I still think 80% of the community would be like, what the hell is this guy? Is this a dragon dude that killed Krillin? Like, oh, this, I'm skipping, waiting for
They wouldn't even know that, Nas. They wouldn't even know it was a Dragon Ball character.
Yeah, like, so it would be, I don't think it would push the sales that Dimps would want from the banner. But then you always have the curveball.
On a hype Roshi unit. Like if they
that
came
would
out
be
with
dope.
a super hype Roshi, yeah, like a really hype Roshi unit, and then maybe some side Dragon Ball characters in the background. I feel like that could be a decent banner that performs well.
And throw a new Super Saiyan Blue Goku on there too, so just they're worried about people making money. Like, oh yeah, that'll drive some extra sales. Like, get these Dragon Ball characters out there, dang it.
I really want to see a sparking Roshi.
Me too.
Yes,
transforming into his huge buff form, and he does like a LF Kamehameha or something like that.
Dude, yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right.
Or Mafuba. Mafuba would be good also.
I agree. All right, I think that's gonna be it for this podcast today. We had a lot of topics to cover, which is why we didn't have time for questions today. Don't forget to check us out on all our other social media platforms: YouTube, Twitch. We have TikTok. Just type !Linktree in the chat, and you will see where we are present. This podcast will air in about 24 hours on YouTube. So if you didn't catch all of it or just want to rewatch it, just make sure to hang out there in about 24 hours. And also make sure to check out all our creators on their respective platforms. So most of us are active on Twitch or YouTube. And with that said, we're gonna raid a smaller Dragon Ball Legends creator. But before we do that, Nas, is there anything else coming up today for the stream on 5-9? Okay, I cannot hear.
I think we
cannot
lost
hear you.
him.
We lost him.
Oh,
there you
7 p.m. 7 p.m. There's something on the dockets, and then me again, or Truth, us tonight at like 10 o'clock.
Right.
So between now till like at least 7, there's nothing going on here. So feel free to raid away. Who are you raiding?
We're gonna raid a member of Prof's Guild, Battlemore. He's a pretty high-ranked PvP player. Nice guy, well-mannered, as Prof put it.
He's got the banana in his logo.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. It's gonna have. Oh, you already started it.
I just did it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was setting it up for you. But yeah, it'll have a little countdown and we'll be good to go.
All right. So
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, we hope you had fun, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Peace.
See you guys.
Later.